Hey, welcome back to Fox and Robin Recording. I am Justin, and today we're going to show you a second part of our new drum video series. So as you may have noticed, I am sitting around my drum kit here. I've got my drums all set up here, cymbals, toms, all that stuff. And in our first video, we showed you how to mic a kick drum. And that was with a single microphone. That was with a D112. We're doing this all with single mics because most people may not have enough inputs or enough microphones to do multi-mics on every drum, or even just kick and snare. So on our bass drum we had, and you notice I do call it kick and sometimes bass drum, they're the same thing, so don't get confused. But on our bass drum, you notice we had one microphone and we had a couple different spots that we could use. Now we're going to show you the same thing with our snare drum, and we'll kind of show you some different things like that. So let's take a look at that. Okay, you can see now that we have gotten to our snare drum here. We have our snare, we have, some of you might have this, it's a ring, some might. We'll remove the ring for right now. It's just a dampener ring. You may not have that, but if you do, they're great. They work marvelous in getting the right snare tones that you want. We have our microphone here. This is not your typical microphone. I'm actually going to put this back on because I can hear it resonating just a little bit. But as you can see, this is not your typical snare mic. You might have like a Shure SM57, or you might have... That's kind of the beginner mic. I was trying to think if there's another mic, but that's kind of the beginner mic for most people is an SM57. Or you might have a condenser mic. Condenser mics aren't generally great for this type of scenario. So as you can see, this microphone isn't your typical. Like I said, this is, for our audience at home or in the other studios, this is the Warm Audio WA19. It's a dynamic microphone. It does sound really nice on snare, I will say. It's got a nice variable roll off that you can do with this little ring right here, and we're going to do a whole video on that microphone, so I'm not going to go too far into it. But anyways, that's kind of that in a nutshell. Now you kind of see we have it pointed to where the capsule kind of lines up with the ring, with your shell ring here that all your hardware kind of attaches to, and that is a good starting spot because you will get a nice kind of sound of the shell. Now you don't want to have it pointed like down. You kind of want to have it pointed towards, like this has to line up with this middle here. You'll get nice attack from a stick. You get a more even sound of the drum itself. And we sometimes we'll even take it and we'll take this little knob here and we'll go up just a little higher and kind of have it come in a little bit more to kind of eliminate some ring if we're having some ring issues. So that's kind of generally how we would start, and then we might add an under snare mic and do the same thing on the opposite side, which we do have a mic you might see down there. Maybe not, it's a little dark, but you kind of see we do have a mic setup that we haven't quite patched in yet. But for the most part, you'll probably be using just a top mic. You might be using just like 3 mics. You might start out with bass drum, snare, and maybe an overhead, and we'll get into overheads later. So as for this part, that's kind of, and you would typically start out this way. Now you can take it, we have taken our snare drum and we've done this before where we've just kind of, let's see if I can do it without messing too much stuff up. I can't with mine. Sometimes I'll take it and I'll back it off really far out, and I'll just take it and kind of move it back. Oh, that's really tight. We'll take it and move it further back, because the further back you get, sometimes you get a little bit different tone. But generally this spot right here that you see is going to be kind of your general, as you see here, this is going to be more of our general spot of where we're going to have our snare hit and sound the best, and not get too much cymbal bleed, because you know there are some cymbals. There's one over here. They're all around the snare, and they will bleed into that microphone. So it's kind of a good idea to find the best sound that you can get out of this one placement. Now, if you have an undertone, that does help too, because you can make that sound different as well and kind of blend the two together. Some people will do a snare side mic. We generally don't, but it is a good thing to experiment with. And you can kind of see this is kind of our basic setup for a snare drum. Now, our next video, we're going to talk about some other drums, so be on the lookout for that. Okay, so like I said, we're going to have some other videos that are coming out on other drums and stuff, like I said in previous videos and even in this video. But as you can tell, we have set up a microphone to capture a snare drum with one microphone. You can use multiples, but just trying to think of, if you're beginning, you probably only have one mic. So just a thought. We are going to do other videos here on our toms and our overheads and stuff like that. So be on the lookout for those videos. Also, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Go make some music. We'll see you next time.